Roll the dice and ride the wave. Quest and dragons, the news we crave. Under neon lights we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land.
Your eyes do not deceive you. Thunder. Thunder. Thunder OGM. Wow. OGM's gonna get you. Whatever. I don't remember the song. But yeah, hey, they've announced the Thundercats Are Go role-playing game. Hello, my nerdlings, and happy post San Diego Comic Book Con, happy post Origins or Gen Con or whatever convention was this week. It's the 28th day of July. I know it's hard to tell because if we look out the window, it's cold and gloomy and drizzling. Summer in LA. And it's time to take a look at all the tabletop role-playing game news stories. Time to open up our charts, take out our sextant, and chart our course through the turbulent waters of whatever controversies and nonsense we're going to batter our britches this week in the tabletop role-playing game Newssphere. Newssphere. Is that a word? If it's not, it should be. All right. So, yes, obviously, if you're a gamer, it's probably this is the big story. I don't know if it's a big story, but they're finally doing a Thundercats role-playing game, and it's being done through Dynamite. Dynamite normally associated with comic books, but yeah, Thundercats role-playing game was announced during San Diego Comic-Con from Dynamite, including Mumra. You know, for many of us, Mumra is the model for a lich. You can play as one of the pre-created ones. You could be Lion-O or Pumra or Panthero or Snarf. Snarf, gosh, Lion-O, Snarf. You could also make your own, or you could be a mutant. You could, whatever, be one of the last humans, be a Robear. Remember the Robears? Be a Thundercat that we didn't remember. You could even be a servant of Mumra. Maybe you could even play Mumra. Ancient spirits of evil, transform this decayed flesh into the guise of Mumra. I always loved that. Yeah, Mumra was always my man. I was always on Team Mumra. It was just so cool watching the transformation scene every week, just Mumra, the Egyptian-themed lich. Yeah. Whenever Vecna is usually Mumra in my mind. I don't know why. He just is. Speaking of Vecna, which we weren't, but hey, segue. Cthulhu is making his way back to D20. Not just any D20, but 5th edition. Somehow this happened. Dungeons and Dragons former lead designer Mike Merles is doing a D&D Beyond Chaosium crossover Cthulhu mythos called Cthulhu by Torchlight. Cthulhu seems to me to go against everything that D&D Beyond and 5e is against, and I don't know why Mike Merles would want to associate with them again, but okay. So Mike Merles is weaving his way back into the D&D 5e sphere by bringing some Cthulhu knockdown. Of course, everybody's just going to want to know, what are Cthulhu's armor class and hit points? And considering this is 5e, can I be his friend? Maybe I can make a pet out of him and we can go work at the coffee shop together. I don't know. Well, congratulations, Mike Merles, for weaving in your intellect and a little bit of old school D&D into the current D&D. We'll see how this grows and evolves, or if it gets shut down because people realize, oh no, Cthulhu is bad. We can't have our player characters fighting Cthulhu. They might go insane. And transferring Chaosium rules to D&D rules. I don't know. Did anybody want to see Cthulhu come back to D&D? I didn't. I figured there was enough Cthulhu games out there. There's plenty of Cthulhu D20 games out there. The idea that they would do Dungeons and Dragons Cthulhu crossover never crossed my mind, but okay. How many hit points does Cthulhu have? Oh, I can take him. Yeah. Hey, speaking of Cthulhu and old school D&D and some of the classic stuff and going way, way back to the old days. Excuse me. It is the 20th year anniversary of Munchkin. The classic card game from Steve Jackson game is now 21 years old. It's been causing hilarity. 25 years old, it looks like, actually. John started it in 20 years ago, and or it was, this one says 20, this one says 25, so I don't know. This one says 21. They can't, but we definitely know it's at least 20 years old. So Munchkin, everybody remember Munchkin? For some of you, original Munchkin might hit very close to home, because original Munchkin was basically just making fun of second edition D&D and third edition D&D and a lot of the weird rules in second edition D&D. But it has since grown into this huge megalith. I don't know how many subsets and variations of Munchkin there is. There's got to be over 100. It could be as big as Monopoly, but there are a lot of Munchkin supplements, a lot of Munchkin editions, a lot of Munchkin cards. I don't know if it's possible to open all of them and own a copy, but hey, if you've done it, congratulations. So yeah, Munchkin celebrating 20 years. 20 years of card-based role-playing game hilarity. Always a good beer and pretzel game to play if the group can't get together, or if you want to do something where we're waiting for somebody to show up, or if you just want to make a huge mess by laying all the cards out. But always just broke down to open the door, fight the monster, take the treasure, or if there was no monster, search the room and hope that something bad or good happened to you. Yeah, it was a fun game. Got, pretty bloody at times. People would get really angry when other people found the mechanics and were able to abuse it. I was never good at it because it required understanding of mechanics and how mechanics crossed over and how this card helped this card and this card helped this card. And I was, this is one of those things I never saw the connections because of my dyslexia. So I just kind of played what made the most sense to me, but sometimes what made the most sense to me and what made the most sense to the rules were two different things. But hey, congratulations, John, of running this thing for 20 some odd years. We don't know how many because the article can't agree, but I'm going to say 20 because that's what it says. 2 decades is 20, as far as I know. Right? Decade's still 10 years. Did they change that? Don't know. I'm going to assume they haven't changed it and that it's still 10 years. All right, what else is going on this week in the news? So far, nothing really majorly controversy. Wizards of the Coast hasn't done anything since last week. We got this announcement. Are you guys familiar with the Warframe? I think it's a video game. Well, now it looks like they're getting a Starfinder Warframe crossover called Operation Osiris. It's a tabletop role-playing game adventure for Starfinder. It's a collaboration between Paizo and the video game developer Digital Extremes. Warframe is a third-person shooter video game which was released in 2013. You go around shooting things. Starfinder is, of course, Starfinder. This was going to be announced at Gen Con this year. So Gen Con is July 31st, so it's coming up. And they'll be at the Paizo booth. And I guess it's converting a third-person shooter to Starfinder 2nd Edition. And it involves Starfinder's take on big stompy mechs. So, me, I love me some big stompy mechs. Big stompy mechs rule the world. So, yeah. Are you a fan of Starfinder? Do you know what Starfinder is? Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever thought, hey, that would make a great role-playing game. Let's do a Starfinder role-play game. Or if you are you more like, hey, that is completely unnecessary. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but there is another story that has weaved its way through the entire month that I don't think anybody's given any attention to yet. So let me be the first and congratulate our good friend Emmy, elfinmaidinn, for creating her own meme and having hundreds of people respond to this meme, including yours truly. The Elves in Bikini month. So apparently she decided that the entire month of July will be dedicated to pictures of scantily clad elves showing off their titolines. And she tossed it out there at the beginning of July. And one by one, people began to post pictures of elves in bikinis, even people who had never done art like this before. So we have a month's worth of scantily clad elves showing off their buttocks and their titolinis, art from everybody. Here's, and just not safe for work warning if you are, upset by boobalos and titolinis and scantily clad elven maidens. Yeah, but hundreds of people, including people who normally don't do this kind of stuff. A lot of people have said, I never do this, but I'm doing this. People all over the world. That one's a little risque. Some of these are very risque. Some of these are very NSW. Some of these are very, yeah. A lot of AI art. Most of it is 90% AI art. Some hand drawings, but mostly AI art. And it's just, that one, yeah. Just scantily clad elves on the beach for no reason, because apparently elves all live someplace where it's warm enough that they don't need clothing. Now, there's a lot of boobs shoved in your face during an entire month, but I think it's amazing that it went from just her going, hey, I really want to see pictures of elves in bikinis or Farron, to just hundreds and hundreds of pictures of elves in bikinis from all sorts of different people from all over the world. So congratulations. That's not an elf, but okay. Yeah, okay. Some of these might be a little bit questionable, so I think we're going to stop there. Congratulations on creating a meme. Congratulations on throwing it out there, and congratulations on getting hundreds of people from all over the world to just respond and create art or elves in bikinis. I don't know if we had any cosplay. There might have been one or two. I would have liked to see more cosplay, maybe, and some more men, elves in bikinis, maybe some men in, Elvis and Spandos. But on the other hand, part of me is like, thank God it's over, because I was kind of getting tired of having elvish tookish shove in my face every day, because after a while it just sort of becomes repetitive. But hey, you know what? Who else out there can say they created a meme, they tossed that meme out into the interweb, and they had dozens of hundreds of people respond to the meme and create art for the meme and contribute to the meme. So now the meme is out there, which means this time next year, we're going to repeat it. Maybe, I don't know. I think anybody else would be hard pressed to do the same, especially in our community. I guess it's the one thing men and women of our community can agree upon is they like seeing elves in bikinis. Even some LGBTQ people contributed, including yours truly. So obviously it had nothing to do with sexuality. We just all like scantily clad elves. Now she has a deeper meaning for why she did this. And that's her story. But basically she was tired of seeing entire months dedicated to political causes, Pride Month and stuff like that were things that she was kind of tired of. And, that's her politics, and I don't have to agree or disagree with her politics. I'm not here to tell you if I think your politics are right or wrong, but I mean, there's a Mother's Day, there's a Father's Day, there's an Aunt's Day, there's an Uncle's Day, there's a Grandfather's Day, there's a Girlfriend Day, there is Disability Month and whatever, but there's no just month dedicated to Titolines. So she decided to start one. And bam, there you go. That's a pretty high bar for someone to toss out there to create a meme. So we'll see if anybody can follow through with that. Yeah, congratulations to our friend again for being able to pull this off, and to everybody who jumped on the Elves in Bikinis month bandwagon and created art. And hopefully the art helped your channels grow. I know it helped my channel grow a little. So yeah, thanks. And thank you, each and every one of you, for supporting her. And we'll see if this returns next year. It's out there. So now we'll see what happens next July. Will there be a theme for August? We'll see, won't we?
Monsters lurking in the night.
Thunder.
Heroes ready for
Thunder.
fight.
Thundercats.
Dice are